Bobcat Stadium, where the Texas State Bobcats get ready to host the Panthers from Prairie View A&M in a Sun Belt SWAC matchup. And welcome to our broadcast location with former Oregon star George Reister. I'm Brett Dolan. Thanks for joining us here today. And George, after week one, there's a lot of coaches around the country that might not be sure what they have yet if they played a cream puff. That's not the case with these two teams. Prairie View plays a conference game, a rival. They win in week one, and Texas State has to go on the road and play at Florida State out of the chutes.
Coach Simmons from Prairie View, he learned a lot about his team last week. It was a tough game against Texas Southern. His team came out, they played well, they fought hard, and they got the win. But Texas State, on the other end, they had a big step up in competition against Florida State. His team held his own, and some of his star players showed why Texas State sends guys to the NFL.
Let's start with the Panthers. They lost a talented senior quarterback. All his replacement did last week was lead his team to a win in his first start.
That's the most important thing that you have to do as a quarterback, is you have to win. Trey Green, he led his team in the yards and passing and rushing. He's the definition of a dual threat quarterback. And if you are Texas State, you want to make sure to keep him in the pocket and make him beat you with his arm and not with his leg.
But he is not the only weapon for the Panthers, because Jonte Abear does a little bit of everything.
Yeah, this is Mr. All-Purpose. Last year, he led the FCS in all-purpose yards per game. And this year, he's a first-team preseason All-American in the FCS. Prairie View is going to want to get him the ball in every way possible if they're going to win this game.
Texas State, they like to go fast and up-tempo, and that starts with their junior quarterback, Tyler Jones.
He's going to have to be the heart and soul of this team. And last week against Florida State, he got a little bit of happy feet in the pocket, but Coach Fran wants him to come back this week, be poised, and lead his team, because the Sun Belt Conference is theirs for the taking if he can play well.
It's a SWAC Sun Belt matchup. The Prairie View Panthers and the Texas State Bobcats. Our kickoff is next from San Marcos. Texas State Bobcats have taken the field. They're in hopes today of winning their 19th home opener in the last 20 years. The last season, they disposed of a team from the SWAC, Arkansas Pine Bluff, 65-0. But Georgia, stiffer test today in Prairie View because of the explosive offense they showed in week one.
Yeah, but we got a chance to talk to Coach Fran. He said that this was going to be a big test, because although some people think that Prairie View, that they should just come out and stomp on them and win, that they always played them tough, and that this is an up-and-coming team in the SWAC, and that he likes the way that Prairie View comes out and plays. But he was more concerned about his own team, about some of the mental mistakes that they made against Florida State last week. He's not so much concerned about the physical mistakes, because they were a little bit outmatched against Florida State, but he did like some things that he saw. He saw that his punter played really, really well. But as a coach, if you're Coach Fran, you don't really want your punter to necessarily be the player of the game.
But the fact, though, this is his 30th season as a head coach. I mean, New Mexico, TCU, Alabama, Texas A&M. His second stint here at Texas State. He was here way back in 1990 and 91. But, George, last year his team wins 7 games. They're the only FBS team in the country to get 7 wins and not go to a bowl game, and that has provided all kinds of motivation for this year.
And to add insult to injury, one of the teams that they beat and had the exact same 7-5 record actually got a bowl berth. Texas State is fighting for respect right now, and every game is an opportunity for them to show whatever bowl committees that they're eligible for that they should be selected. They had their first back-to-back winning seasons of the last 2 years, and now they're just trying to elevate and take it to the next level.
Now, Willie Simmons, this is just the second game as a head coach. He's a guy that had been at Alcorn State in the SWAC the last 3 years. All his offense did last year, they set 7 different records, and they averaged 44 points a game. So as a head coach, they only get 38 last week. But he's a guy that loves to put up big-time points on that scoreboard.
He likes to create different matchups for the defense and to make people get to thinking. Because if you're a player and you start thinking, your mind starts moving faster. That means your feet start moving slower. And that's one of the principles that his offense is based upon. He wants to confuse Texas State, make them start thinking, and that's where Prairie View may have an advantage.
There's Brandon Smith. He's ready to return this opening kickoff from Prairie View, joined by Japhus Gaines, and the Panthers will boot it away first. With Texas State off their loss at Florida State, 59-16, would like to get that first win of the year. They'll get the football first today. Houlihan with the approach, and here's the kick. We're underway today from Bobcat Stadium. And a chance for a big play. Brandon Smith finally collared shy of the 30, and that's where Texas State will begin their first drive this afternoon.
It's always good if you're a coach when you see that energy in the beginning of the game. You saw the pursuit from Prairie View, but you also saw the guys from Texas State trying to make a play. You saw some of those blocks, and it's going to be exciting to see who's going to win that speed matchup, whether it's going to be Prairie View or Texas State on the edge.
Well, there's the junior quarterback from Stephenville, Texas, Tyler Jones. We discussed him in the open. More than 3,000 total yards last season. He's got a talented running back, and the first carry of the game goes to Robert Lowe. Cedric Porter got him up before a gain of 12 on first down. And here's a guy in Lowe who averages last year about 6 a gain, so he's used to chunking big yardage right out of the gates. And they love to go fast. It's Robert Lowe again. About every 20 seconds they like to snap the football.
Yeah, that makes it tough on us. I mean, to explain some of the stuff that's going on. But this high-tempo offenses, they are based upon getting the defense to call what they call vanilla coverages and not get too fancy and blitz from all different angles.
On 2nd and 6, Jones goes under center, heaving the deep ball. Japhus Gaines is wide open. Japhus Gaines tackled out of bounds at the 5-yard line. Reginald Jackson saved a touchdown with the big play combination, strikes all the way inside the 10.
That was a good play action. It sent the defense in a different way, and you saw Tyler Jones get rid of that ball early, and he did what coaches say. The receiver had to slow down a little bit, but he did not miss the layup. You cannot miss an opportunity for a big play.
So 1st and goal for the Bobcats. Lowe will carry to the boundary, chopped down inside the 3, and he gets near the goal line to about the 1.
On all of these plays, Texas State has been trying to attack the edge of the Prairie View defense. They've gotten on the edge, and even on that play action, you saw Tyler Jones roll out, and that's where I think that they see the advantage that they have.
See if Robert Lowe carries again, and he will. Into the end zone for the Texas State touchdown. 12 rushing touchdowns a year ago, his first of the season, and it's the Bobcats on their opening drive, taking about a minute and a half to punch it in the end zone.
Now we're starting to see even more of this swinging gate, new age field goal kicking, but I think they're going to come back and actually just line up and play football.
Lumi Kaba, big leg, is going to try and add this extra point. He's also the punter, and he will rifle one through the uprights, and it's good. And the Bobcats in their opening drive take it down the field, punch it in, and they lead Prairie View A&M 7-0 on the touchdown from Robert Lowe. An impressive opening drive for the Bobcats. The youngsters in the stands even enjoyed the efficiency by which Texas State went down the field.
Coach Fran had to love not only the efficiency of his players, but the play calling by co-offensive coordinators, Mike Schultz and Jeff Conway. That was exciting. I mean, they marched down the field like a hot knife cutting through butter. It had to be exciting, but now Prairie View, how are they going to respond? Because they just came in and just got hit in the mouth by Texas State. And Coach Simmons wants to see his team respond and show that they have the fight that they need to come back and win.
And there's the big leg of Lumi Kaba. We'll talk more about him as this game progresses. There's a kid that can even kick field goals as long as 68 yards, so I'll be curious to see what he does on the kickoff. Sending it to the Panthers, and there's Jonte Hebert, who led FCS last year in all-purpose yards, so he has the potential of making some plays returning kicks.
Yeah, I'm excited to see him touch the ball. See how many yards he can rack up today.
Hebert will take a knee deep in his end zone. So a touchback for Prairie View A&M, and they get the football for the first time behind their quarterback, Trey Green. Now, Willie Simmons, we talked about him at Alcorn State the last 3 years, and there's the ranking of what they tried to do. But look at the total offense, George, last year and the points per game.
Not even just last year, but in 2013 as well. You just see yards on top of yards on top of yards. And when you rack up yards like that, you are going to be putting the ball in the end zone. He's shown himself efficient, and now he wants to go out and show Texas State that his offense can respond.
His quarterback is Trey Green, the Beaumont, Texas kid. Got a win in his first start in Houston last Saturday against Texas Southern. Green back, a little short pass. There's Hebert out of the backfield. Flags come flying in. Hebert will have the first down and more if the play stands. He stepped out shy of the 40, but multiple flags down on the field.
It's kind of a veteran move almost. He knew it was a holding penalty, so he said, I'm going to touch the ball about another 30 times today. Let's end this play so we can back it up and get another one.
Our referee is Ted Pitts.
I love the play call, though, because you knew that Texas State was going to be a little bit hyped up after they scored a touchdown. And even if they weren't blitzing, they were going to be a little bit excited. So a screen pass right there was a good call. You just got to keep your hands inside.
So it backs up the Panthers. They were 5-5 last year before the coaching change to Willie Simmons. Hebert lined up behind Trey Green. Green to throw, over the middle, hits his man in stride. Onyama with the stop, but not before a gain of 18 on the pitch and catch to the tight end, DeMarco Lestrap.
He's their big play guy, and you see that Texas State had no deep safety. If he didn't make that tackle, that was going to be a home run.
So they get the penalty yards back and more up to the 40-yard line. Now it's a chance for Hebert to carry, but he's thrown backwards. Lusmin Kovacic, the young man out of Simi Valley, California, read that play perfectly for a big loss of 6 on the play.
Look at the mesh here between the quarterback and the tailback. It looks like the tailback takes it from the quarterback, because after you see Trey Green talking to Hebert saying, no, I wanted to keep that one. I wanted to keep that one.
Nikolasevic with the tackle for a loss. So it's 2nd down and 16 for Prairie View. This is their first drive of the game. That pass was hot through the hands of the intended target, and that ball shot towards the sideline. There's another marker down. That pass was intended for Cameron Smith.
That one right there, that's going to be a late hit by the defensive end on the quarterback.
Pass. Number 99 on the defense. 15-yard penalty, automatic, first down.
Well, you saw that, George. Kovacevic, who had the tackle for a loss on the previous play, wanted another, but a costly mistake.
This is one of the tough parts about having a quarterback that is running the ball and passing the ball. You just want to get licks on him, get some additional hits on him, but you can't do it that late. You saw he took additional 3-4 steps after the pass was thrown.
This was a Texas State team that had just one penalty for 5 yards all of last week at Florida State at Doak Walker. Costly penalty there. Now Green trying to run. He's going to throw, and that pass was juggled but caught. Kadero Hodge on the receiving end. David Mims, the preseason Sun Belt Player of the Year, made the stop, but not before a gain of 16.
Prairie View wants their quarterback to be able to make those throws and not rely solely on his legs. And right there, he delivered the ball on the run with a good amount of touch, even though he could have turned downfield for the run.
Well, I thought he might take off and pick up some yards, but a bigger play through the air. Now the Panthers on the march, down 7-0. That ball is a fumble. It's loose, and I think the Bobcats have it. Green with a pump fake, but the ball squirted loose, and I think Trey McGowan on the bottom of the pile has the football for Texas State. The leading tackler on this team last year from his middle linebacking position was just in the right spot at the right time.
After a lot of hard work by Prairie View on this drive, Texas State blitzes off the edge, and the quarterback, that timer in his head isn't going off because he doesn't know that guy's blitzing because he's coming from the secondary position. Great blitz by Texas State, and they got the turnover. And now, what are they going to do on offense?
We know they like to go fast. That's one thing. This was the team last year in Texas State that was 18th in the country in rushing yards per game, well over 200, 31st in scoring. But what they take most pride in, they were the 13th fastest team to snap the football. Tyler Jones on the keeper. Runs that option late, and the ball was fumbled out of bounds. He was near the marker and near midfield, but he got a little bit greedy and tried to pitch it to Japhus Gaines.
Well, actually, I like the move. I like it because you see,
it was a fumble forward, out of bounds. The ball will return to the spot of the fumble.
You see Tyler Green, as he's getting ready to get hit, he gets the ball out of his hands because you want your quarterback taking the least amount of hits as possible. You want to keep him upright and healthy.
Tyler Jones with time to throw, over the middle. Hits his man in stride. Brandon Smith inside the 15-yard line. Perfectly placed pass. Foster Brown the second on the stop, but that's a gain of 35 yards.
You're going to be able to deliver a lot of passes when you're clean and upright in the pocket. That was great protection by the Texas State offensive line, and Prairie View didn't have any safeties deep. We've seen both these teams play a lot of zero coverage, and with some of these big plays that are happening, that may have to change.
You're right, George. There's Lowe again. Inside the 10, running through some tackles and finally shoved backward. Cedric Porter tried to tackle him high. That didn't work. Foster Brown combined, but not before a gain of 8. And that's a guy with his size, Robert Lowe, 5'10", 200 pounds. You've got to be able to go low to cut those legs out.
He's a little bit stocky, but he does have enough speed to turn the corner, so he was very dangerous to tackle.
Quick pass in the flat. Japhus Gaines, if he could have stayed on his feet, he might have had to pile onto the end zone, but he could not remain upright, and that's actually a loss of 1.
Tyler Jones is going to want to have that pass back. If you watch the New England Steelers game the other day, that's kind of what happened with Gronkowski out there. They didn't cover up the slot receiver, and the quarterback, Tyler Jones raises up to just throw him the ball, but he just misfired. Threw it a little bit high, but the receiver's got to stay on his feet.
So it's 3rd and 3. New ball carrier, Chris Nuttall, bounces to the end zone, and he's in for the score. The senior who missed all of last season because of academic issues got a touchdown in his first carry last week at Florida State, and he scores here at Bobcat Stadium this afternoon.
It's exciting to see him come back from those academic issues and come back, finish school, and get school finished, and then come out and play well at the same time.
Lost a year of eligibility, attended some games last year. It was hard for him to watch his teammates. He's on the field contributing and scores the second touchdown of the game. And Luby Kaba, junior college All-American transfer out of Tyler, pumps one through the uprights, and the large student section here in San Marcos enjoys that touchdown drive. Jones at 82 yards worth of offense, but it was the run from Chris Nuttall that led to the score. Texas State has had the football 2 times in their home opener, scored a couple of touchdowns, and it looked like Prairie View, George, was on the march until this happened.
Turnovers will cause you to lose a game every single time, and Texas State, they came back, they capitalized on it, and it was just like an extension of the first drive. They ran it when they wanted to run it. They passed it when they wanted to pass it. And you talked about Lowe, the running back for Texas State, that you had to tackle him low. No, this is what you have to do with all of the Texas State running backs. 5 plays, 61 yards in 1 minute and 42 seconds. That's efficiency.
Boy, they love to go quick, and they love it even better when it ends up with touchdowns. And Kava pounds one to the back of the end zone, so the Panthers have it for their second drive. And, George, we know this Prairie View A&M offense can put up some points, but down 2 scores right out of the gates, what do they need to do on this drive?
They got to come out. Well, they have to score. They were able to move the ball on the last drive, but they turned the ball over. Number one thing, you have to protect the football. Protecting the football starts with protecting the quarterback because he's going to touch it on every single play. You have to keep him upright, give him a pocket. But that's what Texas State wanted to do. They wanted to disrupt Prairie View A&M and Trey Green and not let him beat you with his feet, but force him to beat you with his arm.
Trey Green rushed for a couple of touchdowns last week, took 180 yards on his own read to the end zone, threw for a score in front of a big crowd, 20,000 in that Labor Day Classic against Texas Southern. You will give to Jonte Hebert. The speedster has the boundary. Hebert, that's why he led FCS football in all-purpose yards last year. That's a pickup of 18 yards.
Did you see when he hit that corner? It was just another level, another gear. He's patient there, and then he just accelerates. And if it weren't for just a diving arm not letting him turn that corner fully, we would have been looking at a house call.
You're talking about a guy who averaged more than 225 yards a game last season. He's going to carry again, tries to pick a hold off the left side of the line in very little running room, a gain of 3. It was Dondre Elvoy, the senior out of Pittsburgh, there first on the stop. You see him get up off the bottom of the pile.
It's easy to pick up 225 all-purpose yards a game when you have that type of speed. I mean, this dude is electric. We've only seen him just get an opening just that one time on the corner, but you know that Texas State and their defensive coordinator, that they're saying, you know what, do not let him hit that edge.
2nd down and 7, and it's Green back in the pocket. Going to throw off his back foot. He's got a man wide open, and he overthrows Hodge, or that would have been 6.
That pass was the complete opposite of what we saw Tyler Jones do when he had a wide open receiver. And that's where I said, don't miss the layup. But this bad pass was caused by the pressure. He had to jump and make a throw, and it's difficult for quarterbacks to be accurate when they have to either leave their feet or move their feet while they're making the pass.
It was Elvoy in pursuit. Now it's 3rd and 7. Prairie View trying to stay on the field, down 2 touchdowns. This is just their 2nd drive of the game. Play clock at 1. They've got to go. And there was movement first, and Green was angry, but I'm wondering why it took so long to snap the football.
Well, that's one of the things troubles that you run into when you're going no huddle.
Delay game on the offense, number 7. 5-yard penalty, still 3rd down.
You don't have a traditional snap count, so you're relying on the center and his timing, and a lot of times he's looking, pointing out who the line has, whether they're taking the middle linebacker and the 4-down lineman, whoever they are. So he's not looking at the play clock. It's the quarterback's responsibility to get them in and out of plays just a little bit faster.
See if Green tries to identify Nick Petrie, one of his big play wide receivers, a returner on this Panthers offense. 3rd and 12. Busted play. Green has nowhere to go. And he will finally go down under a host of white shirts, a loss of 5. And it's Nikasevic again with the tackle for a loss, but he had some help.
This was supposed to be a draw going to a bear, but either a bear or Green went the wrong direction, and it was just a busted play. But there was going to be plenty of room for a bear to run right there had they gotten the handoff.
George, that's a helpless feeling as a quarterback when you turn to go to handoff and there's nobody there to take it.
Oh, yeah. And we talked about that earlier because quarterbacks, when they get in jams, they just give the ball to somebody else to take the hit. That time he had to wear it himself.
The Australian punter, Houlihan, with the kick. And upended as Brandon Smith flipped right about the 35.
I thought I was a brave football player as a tight end. You got to go in there. You got to run through holes, hit people. You got to be a fullback at times. You're running around. People are, linebackers are going to hit you, safeties and all that. You're catching the ball. But these punt returners, they catch the ball with people running down at them full speed, and they can't just look at them to gauge how far away they are, and then they just catch it. They run. I always admired that because it takes guts to do that.
Yes, it does. And now this Panthers defense needs to make a stop. Couple of drives, 2 touchdowns for Texas State. Jump pass, wide open receiver, Brandon Smith down the boundary. He may not be caught. He's going to go 65 yards. And Smith got lost in the Prairie View secondary, and then it was a foot race that he was not about to lose.
That was a blown coverage by the cornerback. You saw Tyler Jones.
They're going to go for two. That ball was popped up in the air and caught. It looked like there was some contact, and the big lineman can't take it the other direction. Boy, that was two. If it could have gone the distance from Brandon Medina, a linebacker who caught the deflection. Instead of shifting
Immediate timeout on the field.
into the PAT try, they went for two and they failed. So we'll step out. 20-0 our score.
The NFL's
Great turnout today at Bobcat Stadium in San Marcos on a 90-degree afternoon. Bobcat fans have had a lot to cheer about through 3 drives. George?
Yeah, they have. As much as Texas State has been executing on offense, it's been more Prairie View and their busted coverage on defense. On that last touchdown, the corner came because he saw the quarterback do a play fake and he thought he was going to run it. He just left the wide receiver. And then the safety had to try to chase him down, and he just didn't have enough speed to catch him. Prairie View is going to have to be more sound on defense and put a safety deep.
It's Frederick Anderson from the goal line with a burst to speed across the 20. Good return over the 40-yard line, and he delivered a pop himself that fires up the Panthers on their sideline.
Here's that last touchdown. You're going to see Tyler Jones play fake here, and then you're going to see the corner blitz. He blitzes off the edge, and the safety, that's going to be on the safety there. The safety had his eyes in the backfield instead of on the wide receiver after the play fake. Coaches always talk about you have to be disciplined not only with your feet, but you have to be disciplined with your eyes. And the safety right there for Prairie View was not disciplined with his eyes.
Led to a huge gain. In fact, Texas State just under 200 yards total offense. You see the disparity with Prairie View A&M. They've had a couple of drives short-circuited. Trey Green locates his receiver out of the backfield in Hebert again. Very quick 16-yard pickup for Jonte Hebert. He's the senior out of Baton Rouge, Louisiana.
You see the explosion. I mean, every single time he touches the ball, I mean, he's electric. He's a running back. He catches the ball out of the backfield. This is the type of thing that NFL scouts are looking for.
Love that leg action. A little Walter Payton is shifty. There's a carry from Courtney Brown instead. Courtney Brown missed all of last year with the knee injury. A couple of years ago, he had a 1,000-plus yard campaign. So if they can get back to a healthy spot with Courtney Brown to go along with Hebert, that's a good 1-2 punch.
It is. That will do them wonders in the SWAC to have a guy like Brown where they have a thunder and lightning kind of thing, and you know who the lightning is. The lightning is Hebert, because he's going to be able to hit a home run from any spot on the field. And at some point in time today, with the way that Texas State is even tackling, you may see him go the distance.
Hebert goes out in motion, turns around, makes the catch. He gets a good block from his receiver. Turns the corner. Can he stay in bounds? And all the way down, he was stepped out of bounds, marked out at about the 18-yard line.
Told you, almost. I mean, this is how dangerous this is. He would be like the Reggie Bush type player of the SWAC.
I like it.
Where you just know on every single play that he could potentially end up in the end zone.
24 on that play. There's a ball thrown too high for Hodge, who had a step on the defender. Would have been a chance to get that touchdown. He was guarded by David Mims. Remember, he's the preseason Sun Belt Defensive Player of the Year, but he was giving up a step to Hodge. The ball just wasn't on target.
And last year he was a first-team all-defensive player. And their second team corner, he actually ended up going to the NFL. I think he's playing with the San Diego Chargers right now. So that's high praise for Mims.
That was Craig Mager. Of course, they tried to throw in the direction of Mims instead, and he made them pay. Prairie View on 2nd down and 10. Trying to get some of those yards back. Roosevelt Pearson there on the stop. Took down Hodge after a gain of 5. There's Mims, 5 picks last year. He's a senior from Dangerfield, Texas. His dad played in the NFL, and of course that's his desire as well.
You see him, he's long, he's rangy, and you know with the pedigree of having your father play in the league that you're going to be a competitor.
Big down here, 3rd and 5 for the Panthers. They need points, down 20-0. Trey Green trying to keep this play alive. Throwing into the end zone. There was contact. There was Mims. He knocked the ball away. Intended for the tight end. Lestrap had a chance to make the catch, but Mims was closely contesting.
That was just a good physical play by Mims. Again, the protection and issue for Prairie View. The quarterback is flushed out of the pocket every single time. He delivers a decent ball, but it's just a matter. A decent ball is not going to get a touchdown called on Mims. You're going to have to deliver an excellent pass.
Owen Houlihan, the Australian kicker, on to try one from 30 yards out, and he puts Prairie View on the board with plenty of distance to spare, and the Panthers have their first points here at Bobcat Stadium. George, not the drive maybe they wanted. They certainly would love to have had a touchdown, but right now points important for them to get something against the 20 that Texas State has recorded.
So with the way the last 2 drives have been, he'll take this. He'll take the 3. And most importantly, because Coach Simmons knows and sees that his team can move the ball on this Texas State Bobcat team. So he's confident, all right, if we can get some stops on defense, we can get back in this game. That's encouraging, whether you're a player, whether you are the offensive coach for, well, the offensive coordinator for Prairie View, Alex Jackson. But Ralph Street, the defensive coordinator, he is the one that Coach Simmons is going to be looking at, yelling in the headset, hey, Coach, what you got going on, man? We cannot give up big plays. You have to make teams march down the field and not give up 40, 50, 60-yard plays throughout the game. If you give up one, okay, fine, busted coverage. But they gave up one on the first drive. They just gave up one on the last drive. It's been just they've been giving them away for free.
Too easy. That ball sails through the back of the end zone. So a touchback for Texas State. Still a lot of time left here in this first quarter. And here's a man in Coach Dennis Francione, his 30th season as a head coach. You see the number of career victories in the postseason appearances. And he really would have loved to have seen a 15th last year when his team won 7 games.
We talked about it earlier that his team was a little bit upset about that, because they have only had 2 other times, 1990 and 1991, when he was the head coach, in 2008 and 2009, when they've had back-to-back winning seasons. So they're building something around Texas State right now.
Short carry into the pile for Nuttall, who had the touchdown. And to build on that, George, you know, every coach has his own motivating ploy. What Coach Fran gave his teams was a poker chip. He gave every player one with the Bobcat logo on it for a daily reminder. We need to have that chip on our shoulder this season.
Coaches always come up with something not so clever that they call clever. I was part of, in Jacksonville, that keep chopping wood incident where our punter Chris Hansen ended up hacking his leg off because we were keep chopping wood because it was a good idea to put an axe in the locker room.
Yeah, that didn't work out so well.
No.
Said reporter made that last tackle.
Putting 20-some-year-old men in the locker room with an axe and a stick of wood. Yeah.
Tyler Jones is going to take off. He'll gain the first down. Took some friendly fire, I believe, but he's down at the 45. He picked up 14 yards to move the sticks before Will Skinner, one of the linebackers, was there.
If you're Coach Fran right here, you're excited that your quarterback was looking downfield. He recognizes that it's 2-man coverage and that there's nobody for the quarterback. So he was able to get the first down running, but you don't want him to take that punishment right there. He's saying, just get down.
Now he's trying to dial up the deep ball. Intended for Japhus Gaines to get on the boundary, but let him too far out of bounds. But pretty good coverage as well by Prairie View. Looked like that was Nick Brewer on coverage.
They go with the They go with the play fake again, but this is one of the first times in the game that we've actually seen Tyler Jones affected by the rush.
After that long incomplete pass, 2nd and 10 for Texas State. They scored every time they've had the football so far in the contest. Now Jones nowhere to go, and wisely takes a knee. He was sensing the pressure.
After that last hit that he took when he was running and he got sideswiped, he saw this time, he said, all right, okay, we're supposed to be running the read option, and he wanted to do like he did earlier, take advantage of the pitch man, but he sees 3-4 Prairie View A&M players there, so he says, I'm going to lay down, live to fight another play.
Good decision. Devon Reed made the tackle for a loss. Texas State will burn a timeout. A lot of time left in this first quarter. 4:05 to play, 20-3. Texas State with the lead. And they'll talk things over before a 3rd and 12. For the most part, their down and distances have been so favorable. They want to go fast, but here on 3rd and 12, they'll take their time and consider the play call.
There aren't a whole lot of plays in the playbook for 3rd and 12 plus, for 3rd and 10, 3rd and 12 plus. It's just a very difficult down and distance to convert. I mean, unless you're obviously the Tom Brady's or the Peyton Mannings of the world. The defense is going to play soft. They don't want to give up anything deep, and they say, you know what, we can come up and we can tackle everything in front of us. But you talked about Coach Fran and all the places that he's been. Look at the company that he's in terms of FBS active coaches and their wins. He's behind, I mean, Frank Beamer, Steve Spurrier, Brian Kelly, Bill Snyder, and then you got him sitting right there in 4th place. Texas State has a quality coach here.
And this has been a project going from FCS to FBS, and they were really nomadic for a series of years, changing conferences almost daily. This is their 3rd year in the Sun Belt. Demon Mercer drugged down from behind, and the marker falls. He's shy of the first down, but Foster Brewer may have had a horse collar after an 11-yard pickup.
I'm surprised that you didn't see a flag fly right there. This is just a simple crossing pattern.
Number 24 on the defense. 15-yard penalty from the end of the run. Automatic.
Well, instead of 4th and 2, Foster Brown with the horse collar, so that'll move the sticks.
So they did throw it down. That's such a dangerous play, because I get that as a defensive player, you want to get the wide receiver down at all costs. But sometimes the defenders, they do that intentionally. And I had it happen to me when I was in high school. It hurts really bad. And it had happened to one of my friends, Tyrone Calico, who was playing in the NFL, hurt both of his knees, and he was a speedster.
There's Nuttall pounding forward. He gains 8 on the play. Picking up where Robert Lowe leaves off. The two-headed monster last year was Terrence Franks going up with Lowe. This year, Nuttall back and eligible and contributing. How about the fact that you miss a year, George, and you lose a season of eligibility? His first carry of the season's at Florida State, and it results in a touchdown.
He had to be hungry.
He'll carry here for a first down. And he's inside the 20-yard line and picks up 7 more, so the Bobcats on the march. Jalen Coleman, the linebacker, there on the stop.
So we see Tyler Jones passing the ball efficiently. We see Robert Lowe, Nuttall, getting yards. So do you know who that means the star of the game is?
Those big men up front?
Exactly.
A burst of lightning, another pickup of 11 on the play for Nuttall. Let's watch him just accelerate through this line of scrimmage.
When you continuously see running backs not get touched until they're 3, 4, 5 yards downfield, that is a result of the offensive line.
No rest for the weary. It's Nuttall again. It's a touchdown again for Texas State. 4 drives, 4 touchdowns, and 2 of those have come from number 30, the senior Chris Nuttall. Looks like there's another marker on the play.
After the play, unsportsmanlike conduct. Number 14 on the offense. The touchdown is good.
Kwame Bowen's the wide receiver, the guilty party of that flag. The touchdown, of course, will count. on the previous PAT try.
Penalty will be enforced on the kickoff.
Texas State ended up going for 2 and had it blown up. So now they'll be content to try and add the kick from Luby Kaba. Still 2:39 to play in this first quarter. And Kaba adds the extra point, so it's 27-3 Texas State.
It's nice when you're the running back and you got your big offensive lineman doing all the work for you, and you don't get touched. Actually, sorry, he did. He got touched right before he crossed into the end zone. And we talked. Texas State played Florida State last week, and we asked Coach Fran what were the bright spots for his team, and one of the places that he mentioned was the offensive line. He liked the way that his young center played. He was new in, but then they also have Adrian Ballard, who's one of their tackles, and they think that he's an NFL caliber player as well. And to come out and think that they played well against Florida State, who has, some guys on their team who are going first round in the NFL, and to have his offensive line hold up well against them, he had to be excited about how they would play against Prairie View A&M today.
It's a great point, George. You look at the final score, 59-16, but it was a 14-10 game middle of that second quarter, and Texas State was holding their own, but things got away late.
Yeah, and that's the difference between a Florida State and teams that are in the Sun Belt versus a team that's going to compete for a national championship. They just lean on you. You can compete, and you get tired, and they're just running fresh bodies in. It's the depth.
Well, the 27 points today, the most in the first quarter since Coach Fran came back in 2011. Hebert had to backpedal to the 10. Hebert adding to his totals on the ground, all-purpose yards, making men miss. Just so difficult to get a handle on with his speed and acceleration, and great field position for Prairie View after the kick.
The thing I like the most about Hebert is his patience. You know how fast he is, but here he slows his feet down and he catches a lane. He sees a block, he makes a defender miss, and then he goes to go accelerate and goes to try to hit a home run. And instead of going out of bounds right there, he says, you know what, my team needs a play, so I'm going to fight for more yardage. He just ran into his own teammate.
And Tim Gay made the tackle.
Got to get out of the way.
That's right.
Let the man run.
Gay made the tackle. Here's a guy that has gone from running back to linebacker. Coach Fran says he might be the best football player in the program, and he finally was able to tackle Hebert. But the Panthers begin from the Texas State 38. That ball was read perfectly by Landon Beck. He realized it was still in the hands of Trey Green. He didn't make the handoff, and the freshman from early Texas gets the tackle for a loss. -5 on the play.
He read it. I was sitting there looking at it, and I didn't. Beck read it a lot better than I did. But you see the excitement that you see from a freshman. Look at those eyes. He's like, I made a play. I'm so happy right now. Mom, I hope you see me.
It's not what Prairie View wanted with the good field position. 2nd and long. Green trying to involve a few of his other targets other than Hebert. And he does so to his backup tight end, Skylar Moore.
That was a nice, soft touch pass delivered by Green. He saw the big tight end running out, and who had to come up and make the play was Mims. He showed that he's willing to come up and be a tackler. Sometimes you have corners who just want to be flashy. They want to be out there looking like Dion and defend passes, get interceptions. But on good teams, corners have to make tackles.
I like that thought. Going to make some plays. Prairie View will call timeout. The play clock was at 6.
Timeout. Prairie View.
Panthers 0-2 on third downs and trailing 27-3. They decide they want to talk things over. And this is a situation with that big return from Hebert. Just too good a field position not to get some more points.
Yeah, that's tough. I mean, how many times is that? 2 or 3 times today we've seen Prairie View get good field position, get big plays, fumble the ball. make a mental mistake on the draw. Either a bear or green go the wrong way, and you give up another huge play, another opportunity to get a first down.
And George, the margin of error for the Panthers is so small in this situation where if you make a mistake, it kills the drive. Where Texas State has been so quick and efficient, they make one mistake and all of a sudden they hit for 14 or 15 on the next play. But Prairie View right now doesn't have that in their bag of tricks.
If you're Texas State, it's nice to be on the other side of this. Last week, that's what happened with Florida State. And they're saying, you know what? They capitalized on their mistakes when they had opportunities. We have to do the exact same thing.
Big play here, 3rd and 9. Little inside screen, and that, well, there's a late marker flying in. The football also popped loose. I think the play was ruled dead. It's Rayshawn Givens, tackled by Trey McGowan, who will sort out the penalty. Givens, the sophomore, had 3 catches last week, but what's the call? Legal use of hands on the Panthers.
Block in the back, number 83 on the offense. 10-yard penalty from the spot of the foul. Replay, 3rd down.
That was Cameron Smith, the H-back, guilty of that infraction.
Sometimes on these screen passes, you'll see some holding penalties when the ball comes out late. That was a slow developing screen. It took forever for the ball to get out. And when that happens, the defenders have a lot more time to recover, and it makes it a lot harder for the offensive line and wide receivers to get good blocking angles.
Now it's 3rd and 15. Trey Green looking towards the sideline. Still waiting to see Petrie if he can get that wide receiver involved. Not the play. Maybe the Panthers drew up for 3rd and long. Kareem Berry there to make the tackle. Eric Anderson, the ball.
He's happy with the touchdown.
95 yards, of course, the longest return of his career. Texas State going for 2, and they will convert. Tim Gay, the former running back turned linebacker, receives the 2-point conversion.
He catches it, and this is a lot of athleticism. He's not a 10-pin returner. You don't need to knock everybody down. He can make people miss on his own.
Dead at 2nd and 10. George Reister comes to San Marcos for the first time ever, and he sees Texas State set a new record for most points in a first quarter, 35 on that long punt return by Brandon McDowell on the final play of the quarter.
If you're Coach Prairie, you're excited about that, especially after the way that your team fought hard against Florida State last week, and now you're looking at who you're trying to compete with in the Sun Belt. You are, a lot of people feel you're middle tier of the Sun Belt, but Coach Fran talked about that they're trying to compete with the Appalachian states, the Georgia, the Georgia State, and Lafayette. So that's exciting. They're showing that they can do that now. This was that Australian-style punt. And you see the Prairie View defenders. He didn't call fair catch, but they relaxed some. And he said, oh, really? You're going to relax? I'm going to run the punt back. And I love the fact that he didn't necessarily use his blocks. Well, that he said, you know what? I don't need no stinking teammates right now. I got the ball. I'm going to run it. Just get out of my way.
Sophomore from DeSoto, Texas, one of the high school football factories in the state, with a long punt return for a touchdown. So magnifying the importance for the Panthers, there's Hebert. When in need, find that young man, and he will scamper for a gain of 13 yards on the play before Landon Beck wrapped him up. I could watch Hebert play and run all day.
I love his energy. You see his patience, you see his vision, and right there, he made a defender miss in open space. I want to see him get more touches.
Now Green goes up top. Well defended by Mims on the boundary. Really nothing available. Green was trying to hit a big play intended for Hodge. Instead, it's 2nd and 10.
When you see a guy like Hebert and he's playing at Prairie View and you see how electric he is, you wonder how high school coaches could have missed. I mean, that college coaches, D1 coaches could have missed a guy like him.
George, it's the same question I have. And, you see so many talented players at the FCS level. Quick pass, and that's complete to Lestrap, the tight end. He's into Texas State territory at the 48. Dilla Rosemond with the stop. But you have to wonder, was it a size thing? Was he a late bloomer? Because he is electric to watch.
Guys like that they don't start being electric when they get to college. I mean, he had to be a dynamic runner when he were in high school. So yes, he might have gotten bigger, but there had to be something that somebody missed, because I mean, I guarantee that Coach Simmons is looking at this and saying, I wish I could clone Hebert, and Coach Fran is saying, hey, Hebert, if you had any eligibility left, would you come over here and play with me in Texas State?
Mims on the coverage. The marker's down. We'll see if Mims gets flagged for the PI. He was there step for step, but there was a little bit of contact as well. Green was going for the home run ball, trying to involve his wide receiver, Quentin Bell. We're going to wait for the call, but I want to ask you about David Mims here after our referee with his interpretation.
Defensive pass interference, number 22. 15 yards from the previous spot, automatic first down.
So last year, Mager, the corner who went in the 3rd round to the Chargers, was opposite Mims. So obviously people tried to go at Mims, and it didn't work out. He had 5 picks. He was a first-team all-conference player. Now this year,
I was just going to ask that. I'm saying, so Mager was 2nd-team all-conference last year. Mims was 1st-team all-conference. And today you have a choice either to throw at a guy who's going to the NFL in Mims, or you can throw at McDowell, and I'm questioning Trey Green right now. Go to the other side, man. Go to the other side, because this is not working if you keep throwing it at Mims.
Fred Anderson on the carry picks up 9 yards. And here's some of the Texas State players in the NFL. Last year, David Mayo, all he did was make 150-plus tackles.
Oh, that's it?
That's it.
Okay.
I mean, that's hard to replace. Coach Fran said, individually you don't replace a guy like that. You hope collectively maybe your defense is a little bit better. That pass blown up and just nothing available on the boundary to Hebert. He's going to lose a couple of yards, and there's David Mims with the tackle for a loss.
There he is, showing up again. So he's making plays in the pass game when they challenge him. And then now you see the receiver going to go block him. He's not going to be blocked. Goes to go. He's got a man on him and tackles a man while he's being blocked. Prairie View's going to have to start challenging the other side of the field. Leave this man alone. He's shown you. It's Revis Island. It is Richard Sherman over there. Stop playing with that man. Stop playing with grown folks.
Nifty spin move for a couple of yards by Fred Anderson. I'm with you, and I've been so impressed with the physical nature that David Mims brings, and we saw that on that previous replay, fighting off the block to make that tackle for a loss.
That was a saying that I just said that my mom and dad used to say to me, and even my uncle when I was growing up in Memphis. They would say, "Listen, son, stop playing around with grown people." and Mims is a grown man out there on the field. They need to see they need to see what McDowell has on the other side. They might have better success.
Right now it's 4th and 1. Panthers trying to stay on the field. Brown will keep. He's got the first down. Might give it back. And he's wrestled down by Javante O'Roy at the 11-yard line. He did move the sticks. Trey Green eventually carries for 5 on the play. That play took a long time to develop, but he keeps his team on the field.
Yeah, that was a old school Ronnie Brown, Miami Dolphins, Wildcat offense.
You're right.
But they got the first down. But now that you're in the red zone, who are you going to get the ball to? Smiley, thank you for doing a great job on that play, but Abe Bear's the touchdown maker.
Brown to throw. His pass was hot at the goal line. He had his receiver again a couple of times. He's had his big guy over the middle, but maybe a little bit hard on the throw. That was intended for Cameron Smith.
These are some of the throws that, as a quarterback, Trey Green is going to have to make. Hard play fake. The linebacker comes up. He's got to give his tight end or his wide receiver an opportunity to catch the ball, because Cameron Smith is saying, if you give me the ball on my chest, I can try to break this tackle and get us in the end zone.
And those are the plays, George, we were talking about with the margin of error. When you have this opportunity to get it in the end zone, that's just not a gain of 8 you're talking about. That's 6 or 7 points. Green has to get rid of the football quickly. This time he hits his man in stride, shy of the goal line, also shy of the first down. But the catch was hauled in by Raymond Jackson out of New Orleans. And it was Damani Alexi, who had 6 tackles last week at Florida State, there to wrap him up. Here we go again, 3rd and goal for Prairie View. A sustained drive, and they're hoping to see some results.
And that was one of the better passes that we've seen out of Trey Green today. He led the wide receiver out front, and he got a chance to, gave him an opportunity to make a play and run the ball. Now we're going to see Smiley back in at the quarterback position doing a little more of that Wildcat. Let's see where Abear is.
DeAndre Smiley heading for the end zone, and he's in for the touchdown, a 4-yard run. And the backup QB in the Wildcat formation scores the first touchdown tonight for Prairie View.
He's not necessarily their passing quarterback. He's the guy that they're going to use for those what you call gadget plays, or some of those short yardage plays like you might have seen with Tim Tebow when he was at Florida, or last year and the year before over at Oklahoma with the Belldozer.
That's right.
That kind of thing.
Houlihan's extra point is true. We'll step aside. Prairie View A&M, their first touchdown tonight. It was all the big man, Smiley, into the end zone. And it's a 35-10 game. Texas State out of the Sun Belt Conference with a 35-10 win. And George, you mentioned the transient nature of this program. This is the 3rd straight year for Texas State in the Sun Belt, but before that, in 2010, they were in the Southland Conference. Independent in 2011. They were in the WAC in 2012 before the Sun Belt in 2013. There's some seniors, some 5th-year seniors that have toured the world with these different conferences they've been a part of.
They've been nomads, but it hasn't just been without a purpose. Texas State, they put, $75 million into their facilities. They are trying to step up their level of competition. They're able to recruit significantly better athletes, and they don't just want to – it's clear that their vision is not just to be a lower-tier Division I school, that they see what TCU has been able to do. And they're probably trying to emulate that, even though that there are teams like Appalachian State who have gone out and beat Michigan. They've had Georgia State. They beat Florida last year, I believe. And so there's a lot of teams in the Sun Belt that are very, very respectable. And these are some of the these are some of the FBS schools who go and upset some of these big schools. Like we saw Toledo win today. Toledo beat Arkansas today.
That's right. An amazing victory for the Rockets. Tyler Jones is going to throw. That was a little bit low and it bounced. It was intended for Mercer, but it hit the carpet. So, I give all the credit to Coach Fran for what he's had to do because, George, it's just not changing conferences, but once you start stepping up in weight class, you have to recruit a different caliber kid, and you need more size on both lines than you would maybe in the Southland Conference.
He talked about how well his line played against Florida State, and that was good, and that was very, very encouraging. And when your line plays well, your skill position players typically can hold up against some of the big schools as well. It's just a matter of your depth. And if you can keep the game at a good tempo and a good pace, when you do play against the Houstons of the world or some of those other teams, you can compete. Look at the line. Brett, you could play quarterback back there with that much time. Look at him. Jersey staying clean. Nobody's touched him. He's going to go be able to do interviews after the game. Not even breaking a sweat.
Hit Mercer for a gain of 21. And some more yards on the ground. In fact, more than a few. Another first down. The bottom of that pile, Robert Lowe back in the game. He gains 12.
Gain of 12 yards.
Just to finish the thought on Texas State, at the Capital One halftime report, we'll talk to Dr. Denise Trout. She is the president of this university. George, there's 37,000 students here at Texas State. We're not talking about any small school.
No, and that's part of the reason why the school is making such a big commitment to winning. Is they aren't an 8,000, 10,000 enrollment like you might say like Wake Forest or something like that out of the ACC. This is a big Texas school. When you get into 30, 35, 40,000 students, that means that you have enough alumni who can support and sustain a program.
Now they won a bowl game. They don't want to leave any doubt. Part of that this year is taking care of business at home. Robert Lowe taking care of some business. He has the first down and more as he carries to about the 17. Last year, Texas State had a lot of their favorable games at home, including Georgia Southern for one, as Coleman makes that stop. This year, a lot of their tough games are on the road. They've already played at Florida State. They're going to be at Houston in 2 weeks, a Houston team that won today at Louisville. So there's not a lot of easy games on the road, and that magnified the importance. And Coach Fran told you and I that this week. Yeah. We have to win these games at home.
Yeah, yes, they do. They want to, but you see that they clearly have the talent and the ability to win some of these games on the road. I had an opportunity to see Houston last week against Tennessee Tech, and they looked very, very impressive. And after the way that Louisville played even the week prior, I looked at that game and I was like, okay, that's a game that Houston can win. And when you see the way that Texas State is playing today, the way they're executing on offense, and even more importantly, the way that they are dominating up front on the offensive line, that's a game against Houston in 2 weeks that they can win.
George, watch this at the end. Low fumbles, but watch the ball pop right back into his hands after the hit from Coleman. Coleman ripped it loose. The ball was in the air, and it landed right in his hands.
You know what we call that? That's good, clean living. That's when you're living right, when stuff like that happens to you.
Foster Brown, the second, made that stop on Robert Lowe. He would like to find the end zone. Texas State had 5 touchdowns on their first 4 drives. They scored every time they had the football. It also added a 95-yard punt return for a score. They're on the march after the Prairie View touchdown. Lowe trying to lunge for the goal line. Is he in? Looks like he's a little bit short. Let's go back to that previous play, the fumble. You talked about good, clean living. Here it is, George. Watch this fortuitous bounce after this hard hit.
And he's without a shoe. That sort of thing just doesn't happen.
And there's another Texas State touchdown. They were just going to continue to pound it in until Robert Lowe found the end zone. Another one for the big guy, and the senior who had just 13 yards on 8 carries against Florida State, puts Texas State over the 40-point plateau.
When you're a running back, these are the type of games that you live for, where the holes are gigantic. You get a chance to pad the stats a little bit. Everybody eats. Everybody's happy. These are the kind of games that kind of chew up chew up teams and make sure that everybody's happy. Texas State up 42-10.
Back. It's been all Bobcats today. They lead 42-10. We mentioned last year they were the only 7-win team in FBS football that did not get a bowl invitation. They defeated Arkansas State by 17 points, yet it was Arkansas State with 7 wins that did get the bowl game. But you want to talk about the Sun Belt, George Reister? How about the fact that the Red Wolves are leading against Missouri 10-3 in the second quarter?
This goes to something I've been talking about on the radio and on shows for a while, is some of the idea of parity in college football. We see it in college basketball in the NCAA tournament. We see anybody from Florida Gulf Coast to Charlotte win.
Mercer.
To all of these schools. But you didn't see it so much in football. But now you see some of these mid-majors that they call them in basketball come around in football and turn around and win more and more. I mean, the biggest win that you would probably point to that everybody remembers was Appalachian State over Michigan 5 or 6 years ago. But every year you start to hear it more and more. Portland State beat Washington State. Yeah, the other day. Hawaii beat Colorado. You're just saying, excuse me, what's going on? We just can't roll our helmets out and win anymore. And I mean, this is what Texas State is doing, though. They are rushing the ball, 145 yards rushing to Prairie View's only 40, and Bear is going to have to get loose. And I want to see it personally.
Panthers scored a touchdown on their last drive. Trey Green back in there, and there is Bear. Pretty good blocking to try and get to the boundary. There's that cutback maneuver. Pick up maybe a couple of extra yards. He gained 4 in the play before he was wrapped up by Roosevelt Pearson, who missed all of last year with a torn Achilles tendon, but makes the tackle on a shifty and fun back in Jante Hebert.
I've been really impressed by Roosevelt Pearson and the rest of this Texas State defense in terms of their pursuit. They have been running from sideline to sideline, and not just one guy making the tackle, but multiple guys being in on every single tackle.
Brown gets rid of that football quickly. Very little, if any, gain. The reception was made by Cameron Smith.
There are many, many deep plays to be had if you are Prairie View. Texas State is just lining up. They have everybody on some of these plays, within 5 to 6 yards of the line of scrimmage, and they're saying, I double dog dare you to throw it over our head. And Prairie View just hasn't been able to complete any of those passes.
Now on 3rd and 3, let's see the play call. Here comes the pursuit. Barry nearly got him. And the pass is maybe a little bit shy of the marker. That one was thrown again in the direction of the tight end, DeMarco Lestrap, but he was popped by Damani Alexi to keep him from getting the first down. Only a gain of 2, and he needed 3.
And again, you got Trey Green in the pocket trying to deliver a pass, and he's running for his life. 1 Texas State defender, 2 Texas State defender, 3, and I got to get down. Don't touch me. I mean, it's tough to play quarterback when you're running for your life on every play.
Certainly not much fun.
No, it's not. So imagine how jealous that Trey Green has to be of what Tyler Jones is being able to do. Tyler Jones is just standing back there in the pocket, drinking a soda, having a Snapple, doing his hair, and you got Trey Green running around. He's got to scramble, out of breath, trying to call plays, and you see the frustration on his face.
You know, and I thought he's played well at times today, but certainly the numbers have come from this man, Tyler Jones, what he's been able to do for Texas State.
Yep, he didn't miss the layup here. Big, 50-yard play on the first drive. Standing back there, cool, calm, delivering the ball in stride. Got wide receivers catching the ball. There he is again. Look at him. Everybody's wide open, and he is not under duress. It's easy to play quarterback like that. But then at the same time, he is delivering the ball accurately.
Is that ability to fake that handoff and throw on the run quickly, get the ball downfield, one of his best weapons? Because you get looking at guys like Robert Lowe or Nuttall, and you give that one step towards the line when it looks like he's going to hand off, and all of a sudden he snaps it over the middle for 15 or 20.
The most important thing when you're trying to play action the way that Tyler Jones is doing is that you have to have the ability to run the ball. The defense has to be kept honest, and with the way that Texas State has been able to run the ball with whoever has touched it, has Prairie View. Oh.
Well, the last time they punted, it went back 95 for a touchdown. So this time, Prairie View A&M tried a keeper, and it did not work. Tommy Robbins Jr. ended up being tackled by Elvoyd, and Texas State will get the football back with great field position. Let's see what happened here.
And they just ran a basic attempt at a fake punt, except nobody blocked anybody.
You got to have a little more conviction with that.
Well,
effort.
it was like the men on the line. They didn't know what the call was. Like it was like everybody else knew what it was. I mean, sometimes though you do have coaches do that. They'll tell everybody but one person.
And with one big play, Jones hits Japhus Gaines with a diving catch.
First down, Bobcats.
18 yards on the play, so the Bobcats were going to try and make that mistake hurt almost immediately. Japhus Gaines, the senior, ended up landing at the 9-yard line, so it's first and goal. There's Nuttall dragging tacklers, and Nuttall pushed back. He got near the goal line, but he couldn't finish it off. It was Jalen Coleman again, a gain of 6.
Nuttall is going full beast mode right there. You know, he's in, you know what? I had to sit out a whole year. Now everybody's got to pay.
Someone's going to pay.
He got in on Florida State. Now today he's saying, "Ooh, I can sniff that end zone." Kind of one of those Mike Tolbert kind of guys. 12 yards, 5 touchdowns.
It's awfully close to another one. A couple of the Bobcats threw up their hands, but he's about a half a yard shy of another touchdown. It's Foster Brown with the stop. A lot of these guys in the secondary credited with tackles today for Prairie View A&M, like Coleman and Brown and Weaver. And they'll just punch it in. Tyler Jones.
When you're looking at a defense, let me give you a tip. If your safety or your corners are your leading tacklers, something's going wrong. Something is going wrong on the team. You've probably given up a lot of points this season.
Tyler Jones just pushed that one right into the end zone. Something he's very capable of doing. And Cava pounds one off the building. And that provides the 49-point for Texas State. Still about 4 minutes to go before the break. 49-10 Bobcats.
Right now, but they have 49 points. You usually have to rack up a lot more yards than that to get 49 points.
Hebert carried for a gain of 1. Rosemond got him out of bounds, so now it's Green going up top. Just no space there with his intended target, Hodge. Who else on coverage but David Mims the second?
Even more than that, look at the quarterback. So even after the play fake, he's still getting hit while he's delivering the ball. But that's part of being a quarterback, is that sometimes you're going to be under duress. You have to stare down the barrel and deliver the football. And after taking so many hits already today, Trey Green, you know, he kind of checked out on that throw a little bit.
It was fun to watch that play on the wide screen with Mims taking a shot from the receiver, but he was able to respond quickly in coverage. They'll throw his direction again, and the pass was hot. Hodge once again was the intended target, but you got to believe some of those high throws come from getting hit, right? You're trying to get rid of the ball, and you're putting a little extra mustard on it.
I'm going to be honest. As a wide receiver or a tight end, you know, earlier in the game where Trey Green got on his wide receivers a little bit, or the center for a bad snap, or not snapping the ball. Sometimes that's where you can get a little bit of anger between the wide receivers and the quarterbacks, is when, okay, so you want to yell at everybody else, but you want to throw the ball over people's heads. So, I mean, as the quarterback, you have a ton of responsibility, and it's a very difficult job, but that's your job. You got to deliver the ball accurately if your team is going to have a chance.
McDowell not happy, didn't get a chance to return, but it's been all Bobcats in San Marcos tonight. Feeling. I don't know if you could ask for a better weather night here in the edge of Texas Hill Country in San Marcos. And as far as Tyler Jones is concerned, I don't think he could ask for a much better night either. How about those numbers, George?
Oh, look at him. 8 for 9, 200 yards, 1 touchdown. I mean, it's just been so easy for him. His wide receivers have been making plays, but even more than that, his running backs have been able to move the ball very, very effectively.
That's Lawrence White, the backup tight end. Pitch and catch for 9 yards. That's a 6'7", 240-pound senior is White. Will Skinner on that previous stop. Jones dialing up the deep ball. Got his man in stride, and Mercer couldn't hold on. Damon Mercer had 6 if he could have brought the ball in.
Surprisingly, that is one of the hardest catches to make in football.
Why?
Because you are wide open. You're staring at the end zone. You know there's nobody there but you. And look, he turns his eyes just – well, actually, no, he kept his eyes on the ball. He just let it just slide right down. And those are the ones that you can't get back. You don't get back easy touchdowns.
Those hurt. Sort of the runs from Robert Lowe. Runs through an arm tackle inside the 25. Will Skinner on the stop, and Mercer's going to be thinking about that one all night and all week.
Because you don't get those back.
Right.
That's like getting tackled on the 1-foot line. You know you're not getting the next pass. You know Lowe or Nuttall is going to get the touchdown, and you're just going to be standing there and like, man, could have been a winner.
There's Lowe. Pretty good containment that time by the Prairie View defense. And I don't know how many times we've called the name of Jalen Coleman, number 22. Just a young sophomore. He had 9 tackles last week against TSU, and he's got to be in that neighborhood in the first half tonight.
He's been busy. He has been absolutely busy. You see his face. He's sweating, hard work. I mean, it's a lot when every single play you're asked to just be physical.
2nd and 8 pass into the end zone. This time it's Japhus Gaines with the touchdown. And the near perfect night from Tyler Jones continues. Gaines had 4 touchdowns last year, but George, he was tightly covered in the end zone, but he found a way to get to the football and make the reception from 22 yards out.
Some people tell wide receivers to catch the ball with their hands. Some say use your body when you're going to have contact. I have a rule, just one rule. Don't let the ball hit the ground. I don't care what you have to do. I don't care if you catch it with your helmet like David Tyree in the Super Bowl with the Giants a bunch of years ago. Catch it with your
just find a way to make it.
I don't care what you do. Just get the ball in the hands, get in the end zone.
Well, here's the play fake I speak of that's so difficult, right? It looks like it's a run. All of a sudden he drops back. And let's watch this catch in the back of the end zone from Gaines. Looks like a run, maybe a pitch.
No, this looks like practice. For Tyler, that is, he's just standing back there. Nobody's allowed to touch him. And just delivering the ball for his 2nd touchdown pass of the night.
Gaines had a man on his back the entire time, was able to bring it in for the score, and that's a 56-point first half for Texas State. Now, Prairie View's a team I feel like is going to win a lot of games in the SWAC. I feel like they could be a team capable of putting up a winning conference record, but tonight, everything is going in the favor of the hometown Bobcats.
And that's what Coach Simmons is going to talk to his team about at halftime, is saying, all right, we're much better than 56-10. We've missed a lot of plays. turn the ball over, and we just let this snowball just keep rolling down the hill and get bigger and bigger. And now it's turned into an avalanche that you're probably not going to be able to get from underneath. But Coach Simmons is going to want to see his team, Prairie View, come out after halftime and get something positive going.
Another kick to the back line of the end zone from Luby Kaba. It's show me time. You're right. I mean, it's a situation where you want to see who's going to fight. You want to see who's going to continue to play.
Well, this is an opportunity for you to learn a lot about your team, not just as each individual player, but as a collective group. Like, who's going to fight? Who's going to stand up and say, you know what? I want to be out here. I want to compete no matter what the score is. And then he's going to have to see that out of his quarterback, Trey Green. He's going to have to get back to competing, because right now, out of the skill position people, we see Jonte Hebert competing, but we're not seeing a whole lot out of some of the other spots.
Quick pass at the boundary to Quentin Bell. He's just a freshman from your neck of the woods, Long Beach, California.
Yeah, they have a lot of really talented players to come out of Long Beach Jordan, Long Beach Poly. I mean, Long Beach Poly in particular, they put out probably more. I think they have more players in the NFL than any other high school. That's a lot to say.
There's Hebert with his speed. Well, I love that ability to almost stutter step, but continue at full acceleration.
You don't find too many guys like that with this. I mean, this is just God-given ability. Yes, he has patience to add into it, but then you see the high knee drive and his ability to turn the corner. It's so reminiscent of Reggie Bush.
Well, I do like that comparison, George, and he carries again. You know, Bush not a big guy, neither is Hebert, listed at 5'10", 185. But he can beat you in so many different ways, whether it's catching balls out of the backfield. We've seen him on screen passes, carry the football, whatever the Panthers need to give Trey Green, the starter in just his second game, a bit of a break. Now Green to throw into the arms of Cameron Smith. Very short gain. Damani Alexi, the League City, Texas safety, wrapped him up. Smith, a big guy too, 6'2", 245 pounds. So it's 3rd and 4. We're inside a minute to go in the half. High ball, but the catch was made, and that's a great grab on the boundary. That's a play that Prairie View really needed, and they got it from Andrew Michael. Mims on the stop. Michael out of Beaumont, the same high school that produced Trey Green. So those guys have done that before. Now Green dials one up towards the 10-yard line, and that catch and catch worked perfectly. In stride, he hit Michael again, 27 yards. You get the feeling these guys go way back to the playground days together.
Yeah, see, this is good, what we've seen from Trey Green on this drive. We've seen him deliver the ball accurately, good throw, good catch, and the intensity that Prairie View has come out on this drive has been, it's been good, and they needed it.
See what Green can do here. Trying to keep this play alive into the back of the end zone, and he finds the touchdown. LaSalle on the receiving end. The second time today the Panthers have been in the end zone.
What can Green do for you?
That was a beautiful drive.
Yeah, it was, and it started and ended with Green and how he delivered the ball. We saw him deliver so many balls. Before that, they were high. Some of them were long, overthrown, uncatchable. And you saw he's laser focused on this drive. And even after Prairie View's first drive, we saw that they could move the ball against Texas State. But as the first quarter wore on, second quarter, they just did not execute. And that's got to be frustrating for Coach Simmons.
You're in for a treat at halftime. Prairie View's brought their band. They'll put on a great show. So has Green, at least on this drive. Watch him string this play out before he finds Keelan LaSalle in the back of the end zone. And a few catches last week, but he gets a score tonight.
Well, that's good. Green was able to extend the play. He got outside of the pocket, got his wide receivers did a good job of doing their scramble drill. finding a spot to get open, and he delivered the ball accurately. When you are a quarterback and you throw the ball accurately, wide receivers will catch it. And if you catch the ball, you will make plays. You make plays, you will win games.
George,
you make plays, you will score points. Score enough points, you will win games.
What does that do for a confidence of a young man? I mean, obviously his first start, he goes out there and wins. Everything came easily. Tonight, a little stiffer test. But what does that do for the overall morale of a young quarterback who's still developing?
A lot, because he went through some adversities in the beginning of this game. His first start had a lot of success. And as a young player, you start thinking, you know, I'm the man. I got this. Don't worry about nothing. Coach, I got it. And then you run into some struggles. You get humbled a little bit, and you say, I do got it, Coach, but, I need a little help, though. Let me focus. It's not like they've been short on opportunities. You know, you may feel that way if you haven't had success moving the ball, but when they've executed, they've been pretty effective against Texas State.
Green to throw on the run. Could not complete his pass. I'm going to give you one more thought, though, on Prairie View. Keep this in mind. They did not have spring practice because of finishing out their academic problems. So all these teams get to work in the spring and try and work on timing and pass plays and this and that. They did not have that luxury. I mean, they started in fall camp.
The coaches at Texas State actually complimented Coach Simmons and Prairie View on their win against Texas Southern, and the fact that they were so efficient, being that they did not have as many practices as everybody else.
They're clear of those issues, so they're able to contend for a conference championship. Right now, Green just running for his life, but he's going to get the first down completion and much more than that. It was Cameron Smith rumbling for 27 yards. Tim Gay, the converted running back turned linebacker, had to track him down.
And again, when quarterbacks have time, what do? They complete easy passes. He's wide open. But like I said, that's the hardest pass for anybody to catch. You see, he even had to double catch that one because it's just difficult when you are wide open.
Smith, the big guy, 6'4", 250 pounds. Hebert running into a pile. Picks up a couple of yards on the play. Trying to test the middle of that Texas State defense. Tim Gay again there.
I want to see them get Hebert in space a little bit more again. They put him back between the tackles again, but he needs a little bit more space for him to operate.
Almost like seeing him take those screen passes, maybe more so than just the simple handoffs, although there is Hebert. Making a man miss. A little spin at the end. And he's dropped after a pickup of 15. Nikosevic finally fell on top of him, but let's watch this again.
All he needs is an inch. I mean, literally. He sees his vision, gets a feel, and as soon as he gets one-on-one with the defender, nobody has been able to tackle him. You can't tackle this dude in the phone booth.
That pass was intended for Gibbons. He was all alone, but it short hopped. And it'll be 2nd and 8. Panthers here in their first drive of the second half on the march. After Texas State put up 56 points and 440 yards in our first half. Courtney Brown, the setback now in this pistol formation. Trips to the left. Thought I heard a whistle.
I did too.
If that play wasn't blown dead, that's going to be a loss of 7. It's waiting for the officials to come running in, but Nikosevic didn't stop.
Yeah,
He'll get credit for the tackle.
I don't know that it came from the band or whether it came from just the stands, but it was very, very awkward. And it looked like some of the players from Prairie View A&M stopped when they heard that whistle.
Nikosevic was going to tackle somebody. He was going to tackle both Green and Brown if he had to.
Yeah, he didn't care. He said somebody's going to get it.
Someone's going to get hit. 3rd and 16. Again, Brown trying to keep this play alive. I think he had more yards towards the boundary, but on a cutback, he'll be dropped shy of the initial line of scrimmage by Easy Anyama. Now,
he's a converted track runner.
Yes.
He was over at Texas And it was a speedster there, and he decided that he wanted to come back and come play football. And he got an opportunity over here at Texas State.
Coach Fran said every day is kind of a clean chalkboard with him. It's been a while since he's been on the football field.
That's an interesting metaphor.
45-yard try from Houlihan with plenty of distance, but didn't put it through the pipes. And a couple of field goals go no good. We'll step aside. 11:35 to play in our third quarter. Bobcats lead it 56-17.
Play.
George, earlier this week, you asked Coach Fran, what does he want to see different this week than last? And Coach Fran said, I'll answer you in one word: improvement. And after losing by a score of 59-16 at Florida State, I think he's seen that tonight.
Yeah, the improvement has been on multiple levels. It's been in the passing, it's been in their efficiency, it's been in their concentration because they haven't had mental mistakes. And aside from that personal foul that they had in the first quarter, they've been relatively penalty free. You can't ask for a whole lot more out of your club than what they've shown tonight.
Tyler Jones, another big run. Starters in there for at least a series or two here in the second half. Nuttall wrapped up and thrown out of bounds, and it was Jalen Coleman again. Boy, that guy has been everywhere with a pickup of 16 yards on the play. And I know there's a difference between playing at Florida State and playing at home against a SWAC opponent. But you want to see the improvement in a coach's eyes. And again, with whether it's special teams, offense, defense, there'll be a lot to look at and evaluate on this game tape because, quite frankly, it's going to be a long one.
Well, a lot of times it's even bigger than your opponent. It's what did you do to help yourself win.
And Nuttall on the receiving end out of the backfield of a heave from Jones for a touchdown.
I think this one might be coming back, though.
There's
we got a little
down.
laundry. We got a little laundry on the field. Looks like it.
First down.
I want to see this again, though, because just the concentration of Nuttall to make this catch as he was
that was
backpedaling
like a
to the
punt.
end zone. That's right.
You could have fair caught that sucker.
There you go. You're going to see it from this angle. This is the perfect
see, they got
angle.
a little tricky quarterback draw, back up, throw the ball. I mean, this is a Sandlot play. Then he catches the punt, falls in the end zone, touchdown. Not so much.
Coming back. First and 15 from the 42. Nuttall's going to stay in, and he doesn't carry. Jones will heave another deep ball for Mercer. He dropped one earlier, and he'll pick up the PI near the goal line.
Pass is incomplete, intended for Devon Mercer. Penalty flag on the
Kenneth
play.
Jordan was there step for step with a couple of bumps, and that's enough to draw the flag.
Pass interference on the defense. Number 39, 15-yard penalty, automatic. First down.
Flagged on Chase Jackson, the senior safety, and you'll see it here.
Yeah, this play pretty much is always going to go against the defense. You see them both hand fighting in there. I mean, I would like to see a no call there.
Correction. The interference was on
It
number
was
9.
on 9. It was on Kenneth Jordan.
Well, see, yes, that's definitely pass interference. But at the same time, they're both kind of pushing that at each other. I might let that one ride in a 56-17 game.
First down for Texas State. Nuttall. Can he get outside? He cannot. He was dropped on that pursuit from Nick Brewer.
Second and 9.
Just one on the play for Nuttall. Coach Fran thought he's capable of maybe 800, 900 yards this year, which would kind of equal what Terrence Franks did as the number 2 back behind Robert Lowe last season. Getting a lot of playing time tonight.
If their offensive line keeps blocking the way they are, I mean, even the way they did against Florida State, they will be able to. Oh, wow.
How about that? Throwing on the run. Nuttall had a touchdown called back earlier on this drive, but he was all alone down the seam into the end zone one more time. The 9th touchdown tonight for Texas State.
I mean, they're just piling it on in every way possible at this point in time. They are continuing that play action fake and turning it into a pass. And at this point in time, it seems like Texas State is working on some of the things that they're going to work on during the rest of the season.
Keep in mind, a couple of years ago in 2013, Nuttall scored 2 touchdowns against Prairie View. Tonight he scored 3. All Bobcats. That's quite the headwear for that young lady. Hard to see around that tonight here in the stands, Bobcat Stadium.
Hey, there are some places that if you're in the stands, that'll wearing a hat like that will start a ruckus. People behind you. Hey, excuse me, ma'am, excuse me. Can you lose the hat? I can't see. Oh,
Her
and
neighbor has one too.
And he's taller than she is, man. That's rude. That's rude. I get it's stylish. I get this apparently what they do down here around Texas State, but
Hey, you spent a lot of time in this state the last couple of weeks.
yeah, and I'll be back next week as well here at Texas State. Southern Miss coming to town.
That's right. Conference USA Sun Belt matchup. Let's go back to this previous play. And George, tell me how you defend this when Jones starts taking off as if he's running and then he throws.
Well, on this time it didn't even matter. Look, he's wide. Either one of them could have ran for a touchdown. Just on that particular play, it didn't matter. But it makes it very difficult when you actually have to defend the quarterback in his feet. The defense is already, they start out at an advantage because there are 11 men on the field, but there are usually only 10 that you actually have to defend. But when you add the quarterback as a viable weapon, now you're playing 11 on 11, and that actually favors the offense.
Well, it sure does, and it has tonight. There's Abear. Feels like that guy's good for about 12 yards every time he touches the football.
They got him in space. That play, that ball wasn't going anywhere but to Abear. They actually ran a pick or a rub route for him to get him the ball in space. I don't care if they have to, what they have to do, draw up sandlot plays, whether they have to run picks for him every play, but get Abear the ball. He's where the money's at.
Inside handoff for a couple of yards. Nothing fancy on that play. Courtney Brown carried, ran right into Dondre Elvoyd, senior defensive tackle. We've called his name a few times tonight. 6'4", 305 pounds in front of that line. Trey Green has been in there throughout, quarterback. Little quick flip. There's Abear again with a nice spin move. Could have been a loss, and he's going to try and get something out of it. Boy, continues to step out of tackles. That should have been a 3-yard loss, and he ends up picking up a couple of yards before Stephon Johnson dropped him. Boy, that's a lot of work. And he gets up slowly, and hopefully he's okay.
Didn't you see, I mean, just how impressive he is? I mean, he's limping off the field now, but he's out there fighting. You see the heart of this young man. No matter what the score is, 63-17 right now, he's still out there playing like it's his first play or his last play.
Unfortunately, he came off the field in PV 3 of 10 on third downs. Need at least 6 to stay on the field here. Brown just scrambling to try and keep this play alive. He took a vicious hit, and that ball could have been caught, but it was dropped by his wide receiver, Cameron Smith. Anyama was there to provide some pressure. Roosevelt Pearson.
That's a blow for Prairie View A&M to see a bear go down and limping around. But right here, we see the pass go away. And that's kind of a 1-2, and he didn't hit him high. But again, got to be careful of those quarterbacks. Got to be careful, otherwise they will drop that laundry on the field.
So it's an automatic first down to the 42. Low snap. Green's going to step up and loft a ball too tall for his intended target. It was Raymond Jackson, the New Orleans kid who had maybe a half a step. Prairie View every once in a while is taking a shot for the deep ball, trying to find some points. And Jackson at 6'3", 225, couldn't run underneath it. Coverage was employed by Damani Alexi. See the numbers on Trey Green. Busy man tonight, 30 throws. And again, there's a lot of time left, not even halfway through our third quarter. Over the middle, in and out of the hands of Quentin Bell. Another one that was maybe just a little bit high, but probably should have been caught.
As many times as Trey Green has made a few bad passes today that haven't been accurate, there have been a number of times today where he's hit his wide receivers in the hands and they haven't come down with it for him. So this is not solely on him. This is a total team. It's a total team effort. Got to do better. Got to make plays when you get the opportunity.
3rd and 10. With Hebert not in the game, and they miss him dearly. And that play going nowhere. It's blown dead. So even though the scrum is moving forward, Courtney Brown only gained 3, and it'll be 4th down. Hebert still being attended to. Brandon McDowell, by the way, made that stop. He's the guy that had the 95-yard punt return earlier, but just hope Hebert is okay, and I can't tell if this is cramps or whether he got rolled up on or what.
Well, this is the dilemma of a coach. When you are, at this point in time, for all intents and purposes, you're out of the game. But you have your best player who's a competitor, and he wants to fight and he wants to win, and he's going to give you everything that he has on every single play. But then you want to make sure that you have him for your conference games as well.
How about that for a punt? Houlihan waited forever before he finally kicked it in the direction of McDowell, who made the fair catch. It looked like he was considering running if there was any lane. He didn't give McDowell a chance to return either.
They do that as an option for punters, because in the NFL, the coverage team, they can't leave and go downfield until the ball is kicked. But in college, that's why you see them do those rolling out punts to either to the left side or the right side, because they just drag out the punt a little bit longer, so it allows coverage to get downfield.
We have a new quarterback, Connor White, at a Fork Union Academy, Georgia kid, a freshman, will replace Tyler Jones. Hands off to Nuttall, the first play that he's in, and Jones a near perfect night. But Connor White, he got some valuable experience in his first college game last week at Florida State. In fact, he went 10 of 17, threw for 66 yards and a touchdown pass, which I'm sure he will never forget. Coming to Doak Walker.
Against Florida State. I mean, it's only so many times that you get a chance to play against that caliber of team. I mean, even when I was at Oregon, we got a chance to, I mean, you're playing against elite competition every week in the Pac-12, and you remember a lot of those games, but you remember when you go play at Wisconsin, you remember when you go play against Florida State in the bowl game. Like, you remember those things just because they're one-offs. They don't happen very often.
That's right. Foster Brown made that previous tackle. Now White throwing on the run, finding a wide open receiver. Nick Pichette was drugged down by Kenneth Jordan, but there is a marker down, and this one in the area way back where White let that ball go. Pichette, the third string tight end, might have his long gain negated.
Personal foul.
Uh-oh. This is suspenseful.
Correction. Unsportsmanlike conduct. Number 58 on the offense. 15-yard penalty. Replay. First down.
Well, that's Zach Crawford, the backup guard, and for a team that had one penalty and 5 yards last week. Will not please Coach Fran.
No, that's not going to please the tight end either.
That's like a 60-yard penalty. When you go backwards 15 after a gain of 30-plus.
Yeah, that's tough. Just because you always want to be moving in the right direction and doing the right things.
So Connor White back to work. Boy, he's got all the intangibles for a young quarterback. 6'5", 200 pounds. Gonna run a little option. There's the late pitch. Not a lot of real estate on the boundary for Mercer, who picks up 5.
Devon Mercer on the kick. Gain of 2 yards.
You don't like that late pitch, do you?
I like it more when there's some real estate rather than a couple of yards before that sideline.
I like it all the time. Anytime that my quarterback doesn't have to take a hit, get the ball out of your hands, and let somebody who's actually equipped to take the hit take the hit.
You run that option play, though, you better be prepared to take one from time to time. White.
That's a nice ball.
Goes up top. That was a pretty pass. Well defended on the boundary. Jack Rhodes, the intended target. We saw Rhodes as the holder throw for a 2-point conversion earlier. He was going to try and run under a long pass from Connor White on that play. You better be able to wear multiple hats when you play for Coach Fran, whether you go from running back to linebacker, you come from the track to become a linebacker, you're a holder, throw for 2 points, but also a receiver. All kinds of time to throw for White. He'll also throw on the run. There's Mercer, and he's going to stay in bounds and finally escorted out of bounds shy of the 40.
Pass complete to Devon Mercer.
Tackle was made by Brandon Medina. Gain of 19. There's all kinds of time left in this third quarter.
You see, even in these situations, you have seen Texas State not just mail it in and concede to run and punt and try to milk the clock out. I mean, there's still a whole quarter and almost a half a quarter left. You have seen them making a concerted effort to get better on offense, to get better with their backups, who they brought in the game now, backup quarterback.
That's their first timeout of the second half.
Backup wide receiver, whoever it is, they've given them an opportunity to get better.
Be a 30-second timeout. 30-second timeout.
Well, Coach Fran played a lot of his guys at Florida State. Just about everybody who traveled to Tallahassee got in the game for at least a few minutes. But there's valuable experience tonight because of the amount of time that some of these guys, the second and even third string players, can be on the football field.
Yeah, Florida State, the time was about confidence. This time is about experience, because you want your guys who don't get a whole lot of time to get better.
Spent all Bobcats tonight at the half. They led 56-17. Led 35-3 after one quarter. And Coach Simmons, just his second game. He's inheriting a program that's not only got some players, but they've got a brand new stadium on the way next year. They're going to have an incredible on-campus 16,000 seat stadium that'll make recruiting easier for him.
Yeah. You see how he's being poised in this situation. He's not getting overly emotional with his team, and his team is going to take on the characteristics of him.
Good point.
Of how he reacts, how he handles himself in times of adversity. And you've seen his team respond. They've made some plays. They have been, well, his young quarterback.
Well, instead of a punt on 4th and 2, Texas State is going to go for it, and they might have it. So after that timeout, Mayberry carried the football, and it's good enough for a first down.
First down, Bobcats.
So Coach Simmons not pleased with that. So his demeanor has been what you would expect of a coach who's been a little bit overwhelmed on the field with his players, but he's not happy at all either with the spot or the situation. But after that timeout, expecting a punt, Texas State goes for it and converts.
Plays like that are how rivalries start to get built. That's how coaches don't shake hands after games. That's how people get real upset and real testy when you're up 40 when you're up 46 points and you fake punt.
2 yards.
It's interesting. The penalty moved it up, so it was no longer a 4th and long. It was 4th and 3, but Texas State stays on the field, and now Nuttall carries again, and it's going to take a few purple shirts to bring him down, wrestle him to the turf.
all gas, no brakes with this Texas State team. They know one speed, and that's go.
That's true. I mean, and that's the way they are constructed.
I mean, even in this situation, they have been very pass happy and deep pass happy at that.
As they get deep into conference play in the Sun Belt, it's going to be curious to see. There's a ball put on the ground by White. He had it knocked loose, and Prairie View will recover. On the bottom of the pile, Devon Reed, an all-SWAC performer last year, comes up with the pigskin, the football, after the fumble from White. White maybe not quite as quick as Tyler Jones and had that ball disrupted. It was kicked loose by Thibodeau. He's the nickel back who was in the backfield. And Reed will cover.
Earlier, who was it that we saw fumble for Texas State? Was it Nuttall or Lowe when they fumbled and the ball bounced right back to him?
I believe it was Nuttall.
Yeah, and we called that good, clean living. Well, that was more of a case of what you might call justice.
Kadero Hodge on the reception for 7 yards. Called his name a few times out of Hines Community College. Rashad Dillon, Santa Maria, California, the defensive tackle there in the stop for Texas State. 2nd and 4 here from Bobcat Stadium in San Marcos. A strong run up the middle. 18-yard pickup on the play from Fred Anderson out of Skywoods High School.
We haven't seen a hole like that for a Prairie View A&M runner since the first half. That defensive end, he has to either commit to the quarterback or commit to the running back, and he favored the quarterback on that one. So Trey Green, he did a great job of choosing to let the running back have the ball.
Kadero Hodge gains 14 on the pitch and catch from Trey Green before O'Roy wrapped him up, and now it's a 1st and goal for Prairie View. So the Panthers trying to cash in that fumble for some points and do so quickly late in the 3rd quarter. Anderson again lowers his head, but that football came loose. I think it was just stripped and recovered by Texas State. He just, quite frankly, ripped that ball away. It's Dallas McClarty. I got to see this one again.
It looked like he was going through the hole. I wasn't sure whether he was down or not, but either way, big play by Texas State here. You see the run. He's going down, and you see the strip right there, and he takes it. Texas State still on top, 63-17. Predicated on it.
We're going to have to take another look at that fumble, but Texas State, they want to go and go quickly. Remember, Connor White fumbled the last time Texas State had the football. Let's go back to that strip from Dallas McClarty. Now, George, I don't know what ever took your lunch money at school or on the playground, but watch McClarty just take this ball away.
There's a term for that. It's called weight room. When you do that, they say, weight room, you need to get in the weight room. You can't let somebody just come in there and just take your ball like that.
I don't think I've ever seen that. And just standing up, just pull it out. Pull that football out of the pile. And now Texas State, it doesn't matter who carries. They've been able to be exciting to watch. Stedman Mayberry taken out by Nick Brewer. Gains 16 to get away from their own goal line.
You see that Texas State is continuing this up tempo, because they're working on their offense. They're working on their future as opposed to just looking at the scoreboard and just mailing it in on the game, which would be the easy thing to do.
A little better option pitch there, and Mayberry falls forward. Not much available. What I'm going to be curious, though, George, is when they really get into a shootout in the Sun Belt Conference at this tempo, will they be able to wear down some of the teams that they're going to play? Because when they're efficient and they're effective and Jones is operating at full speed, what that can do against a team when you've got to defend for 60 minutes and not run, these substitutes out in a blowout.
Why not? I mean, you see Ohio State do it. You see Baylor, Oregon, and a number of other teams who run these up-tempo, high-powered offenses, and they're predicated on speed, they're predicated on efficiency, and they're predicated on putting the defense in disadvantageous situations based upon alignment, based upon personnel, and down and distance.
Well, it's fun to watch. Willie Green made that stop on Connor White. It'll be third and very short. Mayberry should have the first down, and then he's thrown backwards, but the play was blown dead, even though the football may have kicked out, and it looks like it'll be a Bobcats first down. Oh, I think you're right. I think this offense can really put pressure on the defense, but you want to see just how much fatigue they can force in a defense that's equal to their offense. Where you're not overmatched against a Florida State or overmatching a team like Prairie View.
Yeah,
just how a game plays out.
They're not going to put up 63 points on a week in and week out basis, but they can be explosive. They can be an offense who puts up, 35 points a game, maybe even in the neighborhood of 40 when they're executing on a very, very high level. But, I mean, Appalachian State's a good team in the Sun Belt. You got Louisiana Lafayette and Georgia Southern, who are, the bell cow in the Sun Belt Conference. And as we end the third quarter, 63 for Texas State, 17 for Prairie View. We got the band, we got the excitement, everything's out here. College football, it's feeling good, Brett.
Tell you what, the band never stops from Prairie View. They start them young as Bobcats fans here in San Marcos. Texas State on the first play here in the fourth quarter continues with more of the same on the run. That's Mayberry. He's had a lot of carries. In fact, he gained 13 yards on the play. Terrence Reynolds there to stop it. So we've seen Lowe, we've seen Nuttall run. Now Mayberry for Texas State. Remember at the half, this was a 56-17 game. That pass just too tall for Mayberry. He's out of Cedar Park, Texas. You talk about some of the big football programs in the state of Texas. There's about 4 or 5. A couple in the Dallas area, a couple in the Houston area, and Texas State recruits them well, and they're not the only ones. But a fertile recruiting ground, enrollment of about 37,000, a Sun Belt Conference team for the third year, trying to build on what was a 7-win season, even though they weren't a bowl team. Here's Mayberry, loose inside the 25.
When you play like this, if you're Texas State, you are going to draw the attention of teams, even the effort that you put up against Florida State. When it comes down to picking balls, but I remember the first time I came down here to the state of Texas, and, in California, you hear about Texas football, you hear about Florida football in terms of who has the best high school football. And I was at Oregon, and we played in the Sun Bowl in El Paso my first year. And we're driving, so we fly in, we're kind of driving around, we're going from place to place. And I see this stadium. I'm like, what college is that? And so I'm asking around, and some other people are on the bus, and they say, no, that's not a college, that's a high school. I'm like, no, I'm talking about the stadium over there. I'm talking about the stadium. They're like, it's a high school. And over the years, I've had an opportunity to see a bunch more Texas high school stadiums, and they are impressive. I mean, it's literally Friday night lights out here. It's big in California, but we got a lot of other things out there too.
Well, I had that conversation this summer with Les Miles, just talking about the Texas high school stadiums, how incredible many of them are. That's where these kids get a chance to play. There's Chris French, the tight end. He caught a touchdown pass last week at Florida State. The third string tight end.
Yeah, they're already ready to play, you know, big-time Division I football in front of a lot of people because they play in front of 25, 35,000 people on a regular Friday. So when you come to, so if you go to Texas State or if you go to Houston, if you go to A&M or Texas, granted the stadiums are going to grow in size, but it's not going to be so overwhelming.
Right. Kaba from 33 hit the upright.
Okay.
One of the few things that's gone wrong tonight for the Bobcats. We'll step out. All Bobcats 63-17 over Prairie View.
And Trey Green.
After the missed field goal, it's Prairie View football from the 20. That pass was in and out of the hands. Looked like a possible big gainer for Quentin Bell. I say that we're under attack here by grasshoppers and bugs, and they've started at you, but now they're all over our entire staff. We're flinging them around like volleyballs in here.
I mean, this is insane.
You almost went on the disabled list a few moments ago.
I know. I had one of those little gnats fly in my eye. One landed on my shoulder. I thought it was a spider. Got me up here all razzle-dazzled.
Welcome to Texas.
I'm trying to work.
That play was sniffed out. Courtney Brown going backwards. He lost 7 on the play. This is a helpless feeling for Courtney Brown once he took the football and all of a sudden he realized he was going backwards. So 3rd and 15. One thing Brown has been able to do today is keep plays alive. See if his receiver can get to the boundary. That is Michael, his high school teammate. And he's able to gain 18 yards and move the sticks. That duo is converted at least 3 times tonight.
Look at the right side of the line. They have 2 guys trying to block the defensive end, and nobody even gets a hand on him. Roosevelt Pearson just comes in scot-free, and Trey Green is just under fire again.
He's played with poise, though, even when he's been under attack, and that's tested again on this play almost immediately.
I mean, they're asking him to be a magician. I mean, so am I supposed to be able to stand back there and throw the ball? Or do I have to, try to dodge and move away from obstacles trying to catch me in every single play? It's nearly impossible to be the quarterback that you need to be when you're under duress like this every single play. And that's how quarterbacks develop bad habits. Speaking of Texas, got a guy who developed really bad habits out here, and that was David Carr for the Houston Texans. And it wasn't because he was a bad quarterback. It was because he didn't have any life. He got shell-shocked almost.
Courtney Brown into the line on 2nd and long after the previous play was made by Roosevelt Pearson again. This time you see another Bobcat involved in the stop. Darnell Daly Jr., a linebacker out of California. And it's 3rd and 21. Bobcats have been able to get pressure, though, on Green, sometimes rushing just 3 or 4. Green steps around the trouble. He better look out. He sensed the trouble coming from behind. Green running for his life, and he was chopped down.
I told you the closing speed of Texas State has really been impressive. And they're even with their backups in the game now. They've shown themselves to be relentless. They are chasing Trey Green around the upfield. And again, immediately as soon as the ball is snapped, he has to get out of the pocket. He's trying to make a play for his team, admirably. His eyes are downfield. He's just trying to find a way to make a play, but it's just, you know, it's hard.
And Andrew Anecki came flying in to make that tackle, so we'll see if Brandon McDowell gets a chance for another punt return. He's taken one back 95. This one has him backpedaling, and he muffed it. And it's loose on the carpet. Panthers say they have it. And our official agrees. Prairie View football.
All the things that have gone right for Texas State tonight.
Now on special teams, they missed a couple of field goals and muffed that punt.
Yeah, Coach Fran is not going to like what's going on with the field goals, and he's not going to like that turnover on the punt, and he's not going to like the fumble that White had at quarterback. You know, as much good as you've done, you have to protect the football. If you do not protect the football, you will lose football games. This is just a case of where the other team was making mistakes and your team's just a little bit better.
And it took one play for the Panthers to find the end zone from 28 yards. Coach Fran can't be happy. A well-thrown ball right into the hands of Lestrap.
That's the throw that makes you know that Trey Green has the arm talent to be a good quarterback. He's young, yes, made some mistakes, let some high balls go earlier, but he's bounced back, and that's what's impressive.
And the extra point is good. So Trey Green, the touchdown pass to DeMarco Lestrap. Prairie View 23 points on the board, but they trail still by 40.
Oklahoma.
Trey Green's had a lot of valuable experience tonight. Just fired another touchdown pass, give his team 24 points.
You've seen a lot of growth in him this game, though.
You have. I mean, even just from last week to this week and over the course of the 3.5 quarters tonight. Touchback for Texas State. Make every game count. It's maybe kind of a rallying cry for the Bobcats. And we talked about the importance of not just winning 6 or 7 games to become bowl eligible, but to really put forth their best effort so that they have a crack to get to bowl games like these teams will. And let's take a look at the top 25, and there's some of those traditional aims, but that Michigan State team at number 5 involved in a dogfight right now with your alma mater.
Yeah, with Oregon. Oregon just returned a punt, so it's 14-14 in the third quarter. They're locked in that's just a heated battle. Got Notre Dame at number 9. They lost their quarterback today, so that's going to be interesting. And probably one of the biggest surprises today was you saw Auburn, who's number 6, nearly lose to Jackson State had it not been for a couple questionable coaching decisions at the end. UCLA at 13 is looking really, really impressive.
Of course, LSU didn't get to play last week. They had a game rained out, lightninged out.
And then tonight they're going to be against Mississippi State. Clemson is looking really, really good, and Ole Miss putting up 70 points back-to-back weeks. Yeeks! And tonight you had Tennessee playing against Oklahoma. Bob Stoops had been, not been playing as well as you wanted them to play. Well, his team hadn't been finishing where they had been expecting to finish, but tonight they upended Tennessee 31-24 in double overtime, and that was a game that they were down 17-3 at one point in time. That was a big win for the Big 12.
But that Arkansas loss for the SEC is one that's going to sting for the conference pride, right, to Toledo?
16-12 to Toledo, and some people thought that Arkansas could win the SEC East. And then another thing that the SEC got today in terms of a break was that Auburn game that we talked about.
That's right.
Yeah, Auburn had him on Jackson State had him on the ropes. 2 minutes to go with the ball, up 7 points and you find a way to lose. Oh, Jackson State is not going to be happy about that later on. But this speaks to parity in college football. We talked about it a little bit earlier. It's trending to what's going on in college basketball, that the athletes are getting so much better. Scholarships are getting so much more competitive.
There were 2 fouls on the offense. The first was an eligible receiver, offensive lineman downfield. That penalty's declined. We have offensive pass interference on the offense. Blocking downfield, the pass crossed the line of scrimmage. 15-yard penalty, first down.
A lot of things going wrong there for the Bobcats, for Coach Fran, trying to sort it all out.
Correct.
Yes.
Half the distance.
I was saying that you have so many more talented players because of specialization in sports. There's so many more quality wide receivers, but there are only so many scholarships around. So maybe a player that would have been able to go to, Texas A&M or Texas Tech or Texas, now he ends up at Texas State, and he's nearly just as good as some of those other guys. And so when you come and play, so when Texas State, if they were to play Texas right now, I would bet dollars to donuts that they would have a very tough time. Well, that Texas would have a tough time doing anything with this Texas State team right now with the way Charlie Strong's team is playing.
Might be right. Mayberry on the reception on just a little quick short pass, and you see the down and distance Prairie View trying to get the football back. By the way, LSU leading Mississippi State 14-0. We told you earlier Arkansas State out of the Sun Belt was leading Missouri. They're trailing by 4 later in that game as White will find Mayberry again, and he'll be hit hard right around the 15-yard line, but he will stay in bounds. That's
another big game today. If Arkansas State can come back from a 4-point deficit with 9 minutes to go against Missouri, with 11 minutes to go against Missouri, how impressive would that be? 2 Sun Belt teams defeat 2 SEC teams on the same day? On the same day. Oh, sorry, even in the same season. That would be impressive.
That's what makes these first couple of weeks so much fun. I think a lot of people assume, well, this is a win, that's a loss, this is a win. And when you see the way they play out, that punt just did get off. And it'll be fair caught at about the 48-yard line by the Panthers' Anthony Wiltz. Makes for a lot of fun for these early season games. But as far as Texas State is concerned, they'll be back here next week against Southern Miss out of Conference USA. And then the big game, of course, at Lafayette on October 10th. That's kind of the team everybody's measured themselves against in this conference over the last couple of years.
Oh, for sure. And Texas State has it. They have an opportunity to do something special and to show everybody that they are much better and much improved. But I actually misspoke a second ago. I said that Toledo was in the Sun Belt, but they're actually in the American.
And on that schedule, Texas State will be at Houston in 2 weeks, and that game gets a lot more interesting because of what the Cougars did today, beating a Power 5 school in Louisville on the road.
I was impressed with Houston last week. They showed they have a couple of receivers. They have a guy named Chance Allen who transferred from the University of Oregon. They have a couple of other wide receivers who are dynamic playmakers. So Houston has it. The only thing that they're probably lacking is an explosive running back. Their running back Farrow, he catches the ball well, but he doesn't have that top end speed that you want to see out of your running back these days.
Fred Anderson the carry. Cougars will have a couple of weeks off before they face these Bobcats who really jumped out to such a big lead, 35-3 after one quarter, 56-17 at the half. Had a lot of guys getting playing time tonight. Prairie View looking for maybe another score or so. That's Smiley, the left-handed quarterback, zinging one inside the 35-yard line. Michael has been busy. That's at least his 5th catch for the young sophomore, a gain of 12. And there's Deontry Smiley. We saw him run one in for a touchdown, a kind of a wildcat formation earlier in the game. Kid out of Lufkin, Texas. Pistol formation look for the Panthers. Smiley's going to take off. That's a big man. The Bobcats will get to him. They'll tackle him forward for a pickup of a couple. Marcus Dallas Jr., a defensive end.
Yeah, he's a big man at quarterback. Kind of reminds you of looking at Cardale Jones last year over at Ohio State, or even to go a little bigger like a Jared Lorenzen.
I knew you were going there. I was waiting for you to go.
He's left-handed. Right. I can't help it.
No, that's what made me think of him too.
At Kentucky a few years ago. He's playing. I think he's playing in the Arena League or some indoor league now, and he's bigger than he was then.
Yes, he is. He's a house.
Yep.
Smiley will get another completion, but the Panthers will only get a couple of yards on that play. Just not much available for Cameron Smith.
Yeah, he's the refrigerator quarterback.
Going to try and get rid of this one quickly on 3rd and short. Panthers will have the first down and more. So able to move the ball effectively on this drive, and that pass was completed to Anthony Wiltz, a junior out of Houston. And now the Panthers really trying to go up tempo.
Yeah, I like the way the ball comes out of his hand. He's been pretty accurate on these throws he's been making. Smiley might have something there.
He'll cock and fire towards the corner, and that pass again could have been caught by Quentin Bell. We've seen maybe 4 or 5 tonight, kind of in and out of the hands of Panthers receiver.
Oh yeah, that's not going to go over well. That is not the way to get a quarterback to have confidence in you. And you know, because as a quarterback, you have to have confidence in your wide receivers. That way, you can throw it in tight spots. But you know, this is why he's trying to get some experience for these young guys right now.
Pursuit of the defense of Texas State will string out that play. It was Teron Fitzgerald who made the tackle on Courtney Brown. By the way, Fitzgerald last week got to play at Florida State. He grew up just 5 minutes away from Doak Walker Stadium, so a junior college transfer. When he came here to Texas State, he looked at the schedule and said, yes, sir, I'm finally going to get to play.
See, that's exciting.
Personal foul, unnecessary roughness, 79 offense, 15-yard penalty, Phil, second down.
It's Denzel Lewis, the right guard, with a penalty. Coach Simmons just says,
really?
What?
Really? Really?
But Fitzgerald with that tackle. He had about 70 friends and family there at the game at Doak Walker last week. Plays what they call the stinger position in this Bobcats defense. It just used to be middle linebacker, weak side linebacker. Now it's Wolf and Rover and Stinger, and you've got all the fun terms.
New terms for the same old job. Football is not complicated. A lot of times when you try to make it too complicated, bad things happen.
Smiley had a shot for a score there, but the pass was too tall. Now there is another marker down. We've seen a lot of penalties.
Personal foul, roughing the passer, number 8 on the defense. Half the distance to the goal, automatic.
Well, we were talking about Mr. Fitzgerald, and now we have to admit he was the man guilty of the roughing the passer penalty, and it didn't really affect this throw to Moore. Let's see it at the end.
Yeah, he showed like he was fleet of foot. That's just a little love tap. Just a little love tap.
We've seen a couple of those in this game.
Yeah, the first one in the first quarter, that was legit. The next two, you know,
they've been a step late. What I like is the fact that they haven't gone above the shoulder pads. That's been such a point of emphasis.
Well, they've made sure the officials, they've made a point of emphasis that you will get yourself kicked out of the game for that. Not just, and maybe even suspended. Player safety is at a premium, especially when you have, young men who aren't, who have physical challenges when they finish playing. And, the NCAA and parents and everybody else want to make sure that they're kids and that the game is safe long term.
2nd down and 7. Anderson runs into the line, and And not a lot of real estate available. Darius Hood, the defensive tackle from Plano there. He was also joined on the tackle by Javante O'Roy. Third down and 9 for the Panthers. Well, they'd love to at least hang 30 on the Bobcats, even in a game in which they were down big early. Leave with something to build on if they could punch it in the end zone one more time. Smiling. Remember, he's a left-handed QB running to his strong side, firing to the end zone, and a little bit wide of the target.
It's just time and time again that you're seeing free runners in the backfield of the Panthers. You know, you're gonna have to have, you know, you're a quarterback running all over the place, but Prairie View still trying to score 63-24 at this point in time in the fourth quarter. It's 4th and 8, and Prairie View wants to put some additional points on the board right now. You know that Smiley, he wants to make a play, wants to toss a touchdown. And these young men who haven't played a whole lot, they want to catch one.
Looks like that play was blown dead. The previous pass was intended for Wiltz. When it was incomplete, he limped off, and then the Panthers really
Prairie View.
Unsure of their alignment, so they called timeout.
Thank goodness it was blown dead. It was going to be another free runner coming off the left side. I mean, okay, you have to block people. If you don't block people, they're going to hit you. Every now and then you see the name of a university and you say, oh, okay, I didn't know that was there.
I had one last night. There's a toss into the end zone, and it's incomplete.
That was the University of Faith I just saw. I said, okay.
You're right.
Okay, not sure where to find that one on the map.
Turnover on downs, 1:17 to play. We'll step out, 63-24 Bobcats. Our Capital One Cup Impact Performance tonight. There's a lot of candidates, George, but it's hard to pass on Tyler Jones.
Oh, yes, he was impactful in so many different ways. He rushed for a touchdown, threw 3 touchdowns, 12 for 14. That's efficiency at its finest. He led his team. He was poised. He was confident. He was accurate. And I think that those 2 incompletions were actually drops. If they hadn't dropped the ball, he would have had a perfect day. Capital One performer, a lot of times it's easy to give it to the quarterback, but today, since you can't give it to the entire offensive line, you got to give it to the quarterback.
When you run this up-tempo offense and you're trying to snap the football every 20 seconds or so, they're the 13th fastest last year over the course of the season. The decision-making has to be quick, efficient, effective, and we saw that from Jones today. And you mentioned, too, without a couple of drops, he would have been batting 1,000.
That's hard to do.
It is.
That's hard to do. I mean, in the day and age of zone blitzes and half zone, half man-to-man coverages and schemes, it's really easy for a quarterback to get confused on one play. But he's just been steady Eddie all day, though. Well, steady Tyler.
Connor White's had a lot of opportunities to play in the second half. Tyler Szynski gets the carry, so we're going deep in the depth chart. Foster Brown still in there as the safety makes another tackle for Prairie View. Nearing the 1-minute mark tonight from Bobcat Stadium. Again, this was a game at the half that was 56-17. A couple more yards for Szynski and the Bobcats. Isaac Thompson, the freshman from Jacksonville, gets credit for the tackle. So maybe one more play for Texas State. They'll even their record at 1-1. Remember, they lost at Florida State in the opening weekend. Meanwhile, Prairie
that's
View.
when they let slip away, huh? No, I don't think they'll look back on that game with anything but taking good things out of it.
That and a nearly $1 million paycheck to help fund the program at They will be 1-1. Prairie View will also be 1-1. And Coach Fran will get another victory here at Texas State. And I think he's quite content to walk to midfield and shake hands with the Panthers after what will be a 63-24 Texas State win. And George, your thoughts on what we saw tonight from the Bobcats?
I thought that they were efficient. They got better. They were effective, which is exactly what Coach Fran wanted and was looking for out of his team. I'm excited to see them play against Houston in a couple weeks. I think this is going to be a great matchup, and these actually could be the third. Houston and Texas State could be the third and fourth best teams in Texas behind Baylor and TCU.
Could be fun. I enjoyed it.
I enjoyed it as well, sir.
24,561 here, the third largest crowd in Bobcat Stadium.